Hello guys, girls and everything else. This is another Cargo Pants video about this time the importance of party rolls. Last time my microphone broke, so I'm making sure that it's still working. So right now don't worry that it starts off with a note, because then we will get to all of the juicy stuff later. Right now it's just a little note to tell you what essentially are the party rolls. First roll is a tank. That is about directly preventing damage. So basically, you go in the front lines. You usually have higher armor class and HP than rest of the characters. Which usually, in order to be a tank, you need to have at least 10 damage. 10 HP per level plus Constitution modifier. In order to actually be a tank. Now, healer is a person that helps allies prevent damage. That being usually through healing, but also usually the people who are healers also increase your armor class and things like that. Now we have a DPR, which may sound weird, but this is essentially like a DPS. But instead of, the game being real time, Pathfinder is divided by rounds and turns. So you deal damage per round rather than per turn. And you directly deal damage. And then there's support, which helps allies deal damage. If you're going to make a team, first of all you need to know who should be your tank, because you need a frontliner, because if you don't have a frontliner that is probably a tank, then you're gonna have a hard time, because if the enemies will get close to you, you'll be toast. Second one would be healer, because still we need someone to keep the tank alive, and healers are not just exclusively heal bots. Healers can also do other stuff like using magic. Usually if you're probably a cleric, then you're usually throwing a divine lance at enemies. To deal damage. And you have also some damaging spells, usually from your deity, like Cernuos, for example, gives you Lightning Bolt, because Lightning Bolt is my favorite evocation spell. That's why I mentioned it so much. Then you have the DPR, because when you have a tank and a healer, already at this point, tank should be able to take care of most of the stuff by themselves. And DPR is the character that will deal damage to make combats quicker. Because then, if you have like 3 players and like 2 of them are tanks and like 2 of them are healers, maybe one is a tank and stuff like this, then the combat will drag on for too long. So you need someone who will try to dedicate themselves as much as possible to dealing damage, and then as a 4th player support. And then if you have 4 players, then the 4th player should be a support. Same as you can see, if you have 5 players, then once again the damage problem with enemies, because there will be way more enemies. So you will need a second tank, then because of that you will need a second healer to keep everyone alive, then another DPR because your party, so the combats won't drag on for too long, and then a support. And how I'm going to divide it is by this little thing. Over here you have directly deal damage, aka your DPR class. Over here you have directly prevent damage, aka your tanks over here on this square. At this square over here you have your supports, and at this square over here you have all of your, healers. So first one, the alchemist. We know that alchemists' bombs are not really all that good. You know, alchemist will have a trouble shooting bombs until like level 5, and then after that, even though the bombs will be kind of cool, then just they won't be really damaging. Most of bombs you choose for the side effects of the bomb, and well, except for, and that's just the bombs. Um, you have all of the other stuff for elixirs, the elixirs which heal, elixirs with heal and mutagens that buff, and you have also poisons that damage enemies a little bit. So I'd put that alchemist over here, because alchemist is not really that helpless, but has a bit limited resources in terms of that. Well, now barbarian. Barbarian will be probably one of the most direct classes, because except for like the intimidation barbarian, there's no really way for anything else, which makes me wanna put barbarian over here, which makes me wanna put like barbarian just I don't know, maybe that's a hard choice, but I put barbarian like over here. And no Bard. Bard is for sure a support, though Bard also has just a little bit. A cold spell is just, it has like some healing spells and AC boosting spells, but there are few and far between, and a little bit of damaging spells. So I'd put Bard over here. Now champion. Champion goes about. Doesn't really usually do a much damage. Doesn't have really much feats that deal damage. I mean, champions do have a Sunblade, but the Sunblade, though does a lot of damage, a lot of the damage is positive. It does some damage, but a lot of the damage is positive, and a lot of the damage is good. And also champion has a little bit of healing. So I put champion over here. Now cleric. Well, cleric will be sure on the damage prevention over here somewhere. But really, cleric is a weird class, you know. You can either try to do it directly as a war priest, or just go over here into damage prevention, like over here, completely if you get a cloister cleric. And also as a cloister cleric you may deal a bit of damage, so that's why cleric is just weird enough to put it just in between over here. I think. Over here. Now druid. Druid is over here. Druid has the access to the primal list, which has both all of the stuff like this. Do not worry about ChatGPT. I just ask about general ideas for this, and all of the stuff wasn't really over there. But I decided, but ChatGPT helped me just divide it into a couple of sections, just to divide it into these 4 sections. But it didn't really write the script or anything, don't worry. Then the fighter. Fighter has some heavy armor, deals a bit of damage. So it's only fair that I put the fighter like right next to barbarian. Over here. The biggest thing about the fighter is +2 to hit, but also fighter has 10 HP per level and heavy armor. As well as shield block at level 1. So I think like I need. Then gunslinger. I put it over here because as far as I know, there are a couple of fates that do all of the support stuff, but gunslinger is mostly just damaging. To be honest, I think that fighter deserves a spot over here. Just in the middle of the DPS. Well, now inventor. Well, you can prevent damage if you go armor out and deal a lot of damage versatilely. But all of the stuff you will do is directly. Unless you pick one feat that there exists. Like with Barbarian, it's Share Rage, but over here is like Overdrive Ally. So I believe that Inventor... But your damage won't be really that much higher, it will be more versatile. So I think that Inventor deserves a spot over here. Also, I'm not going to count skill monkeys and stuff like this in here, because these are the most important ones. Investigator would be one of the skill monkeys, but Investigator doesn't really have much HP and has light armor. And starts with, intelligence as its main stat, so it will just have like one more AC than Wizard. Though you will be a damage dealer for sure. And a bit more tanky than Gunslinger. But I don't think that Investigator does anything to really support the team, so I put it over here. Now Magus. Magus is kind of like a wizard, but a little bit more tanky. And I'd put wizard over here. So I'd put Magus as just the direct opposite of cleric. Now Monk. Monk is like the most direct subclass. Most direct class. And I put Monk over here. I won't really call Monk damagey because you get a lot of saving throws and stuff like this that helps you with defense, but you also gain stances and stuff like that. So I put Monk over here, I think. Though actually, now that I think about it, Investigator should go over here because Investigator is also a skill monkey, which gives you a lot of skills. Now Oracle. Oracle for sure will be with the ally help, unless your mystery does something weird. So I'd put Oracle just like under a druid in terms of party roles. Just not as big of a support as an alchemist, but not as versatile as a druid. Then Psychic. For sure because it's an occult spell list, just force occult spell list. You're stuck around Bard. But I think that Psychic doesn't have that many just straight up support options. Psychic has like Psychic Blade and stuff like this. So I'd put psychic like over here. Maybe over here. Sorry if my family is interrupting, they're doing some weird stuff in the background. Uh, yeah, no, the Ranger. Ranger, except for the outwit, has a lot of stuff that deals damage, and you usually focus on one target, but so the outwit is not really like the most chosen one, because unless it's a boss monster, then well, it's kind of weird. So I'd put Ranger as a damage dealer just around fighter. Though I'd kind of put fighter higher. Let's Ranger a bit lower. Now Rogue. Rogue does some damage with the sneak attack, but also has a lot of skills. So it would be around Investigator, but you kind of go lower in terms of that, because once again, this is kind of a skill monkey, and also has the debilitating strike ability. Though a bit behind the Magus in terms of that. Yeah, actually, I think that this will be better for new players to understand this. Can technically play Ranger as a tank and same with fighter. Now Summoner. Summoner is just another one like Druid. Just a bit more to the tank side. Sorcerer for sure will be right around here. Because Sorcerer can deal damage by itself, and also heal allies and also buff allies, so Sorcerer should be like over here. I think that's quite a fitting place. Now over here we have damage dealer, have tank. To put just over here. And then Thaumaturge. Thaumaturge once again is just like Druid. Thaumaturge and Druid are in one place. So to be honest, I need to just put them in one place. Now Witch would be just like Wizard, which is just over here, but you have a little bit more of this, and you are a little bit more of a healer, so over here the Witch goes, and over here the Wizard goes. This is essentially a tier list. Not really a tier list, this is where they belong. Um, or maybe just like move these guys out over here. Okay, now you have the full theory. Now you have the full chart. This is about how the chart should be, in my opinion. Um, it's really emphasized. So basically, if you want to like pick a tank, then you basically look into this square over here. Into this square over here. No, I wouldn't say that. Or tanky. I'd say, okay, now I'd say that cleric should be over here. Because sorcerer is kind of a weird one. Because same kind of with witch. Because both of them can do everything except just normal tanking. So that's why it's kind of weird. So essentially, if you want, for example, to play a tank, you look for classes that essentially just touch this space over here. And here you have the closer they are to being a tank. And just follow this and try to pick someone who is close to over here for your first character, for the first character in the party as a tank. Someone who is close to here as your second character, someone who is close to here as your third, and over here as your fourth. Also maybe here if you have a fifth, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's pretty much it, I think. That's essentially how party rules go in Pathfinder 2nd edition. I hope that you find this tier list helpful. And yeah, I'm going to actually copy this image and post it as a community post too. So yeah, remember this is not really a tier list for any class. This is like more likely just a general guide. What classes work well together by just seeing who actually is capable of doing what. Oh yeah. Okay, now I'm pretty sure that this is a correct tier list. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And remember to like and subscribe for more stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much. So yeah, mostly remember, always try to find your own path. Signing off, you freaks of natures. Freaks of nature. I don't know. I need to find a way how to call my fans or something.